Well, it's very difficult to be a mind reader, of course, but we know the nature and character of the ruling party led by Modi, and we know that it's not their first attempt. There was an attempt in 2016 to introduce and implement the same type of bill. It did pass through the lower house back then, but didn't pass through the upper house. As long as the formal position of the Indian government is concerned, they are saying that it's a very pro-refugee plan. So there are people coming to India from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh, and these people are to be entitled to receive protection in India. The question here is that why only non-Muslim minorities are accepted in India. In order to understand, the formal position is one thing, of course, but we need to look into the actual act, what it says. It says that in order to be qualified to receive citizenship under the Amendment Act, you've got to be coming from those three countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh. You have to belong to one of those 6 religious minorities, which includes Hindus, Sikhs and other religious minorities, but not Muslims. You have to be in India by 31st of December of 2014. So it does reduce the citizenship requirement from 11 years to 5 years. So it does relax the process of getting the Indian passport. The criticism about this particular bill is that it does explicitly exclude Muslims. The Indian government's argument is that if you are living in Pakistan or Afghanistan and you're Muslim, you cannot be persecuted on the grounds of your faith, which is Islam, because it's a Muslim majority country. But the real criticism here is that why to include only these 3 countries? There are many neighboring countries in that region where there are lots of Muslim minorities who are being persecuted. Why not to include them? But India's government's position is that India is a spiritual home for all those people, in particular Hindu people. And here we see the dichotomy between the secular constitutional structure of India and the fact that here the faith has been used as a condition of your citizenship. So the criticism here quite widespread. And the second argument used by Indian government is that they want to control immigration. There's nothing wrong about controlling immigration. All countries need to control immigration. But let us try to look into this Citizenship Amendment Act and the National Register hand in hand, because they are interconnected. So we understand the Citizenship Amendment Act excludes Muslims, and we look into the National Register. In the National Register, if you want to prove that you are Indian citizen, you need to prove it with documentation. India is a very large country. It's a huge population. And there are lots of rural areas there. People are not able to prove their identity by documents because of the nature of the administration and so on. So the argument is that, so within the national registration, those people who are not Indian citizens, according to that, they are mostly Hindus, and they will get citizenship according to this refugee policy, and effectively speaking, the landscape of the country will change. And Modi's policy is effectively a right-wing nationalist policy based on the Hindu spiritual nationalism. It will change the landscape of the country, step by step, incrementally, not over the night, but step by step, and it will increase his vote base. So it is a political decision, and it is couched in the language of pro-refugee sentiments, but in effect it is changing the destiny of India and its secular character. But lots of people, scholars, are suggesting that India has never been a secular country in the tradition of French nationalism, for example. French nationalism is very robust, the religion is ultimately excluded from that national identity concept. They're saying that Hindu faith has always been part of it. The Indian secular nationalism has always been informed by Hindu faith. That's what they're trying to say. And the second argument in favor of this particular new law is that there's a room for classification, for reasonable classification under this secular identity. And also it is very clear that Indian nationalism, secular nationalism, has never been a nationalism of the kind which European nations practice. So here they're not in line, and the ultimate answer to this question, which you have put, will be possibly given by the Supreme Court of India, because as you know, there are lots of people who are not happy with this decision, and the Supreme Court will give its own verdict. And that verdict will tell us the real answer to this question.